Okay, I'm Michelle Crago, and
I'm Adam Crago.
it's we are Madison Crago's parents, and that's Madison Madison. She is 2.5, and we found out that she was blind at 2 months old with optic nerve hypoplasia. So from there, we went up to the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia to get a second opinion to make sure, and we've gone up there several times and really like the folks up there, and they seem to really know a lot about it, and if anything is developing, they'll be telling us. We won't be going to China or Mexico, so, as far as like for research and things that are going on.
You would go anywhere and do anything is what you're saying.
Well, we probably wouldn't go to China or Mexico, is what they said. They said, come back up to Philadelphia. There's like some stem cell development that's going on in China right now, where they're injecting stem cells into the nerve to help create some growth there. So
And he said if it worked, we'd be doing it here.
if it works, it's in the very beginning stages of things over there.
So they have a little more leeway with the stem cell ability to use them for research.
He
Yeah,
said the
so.
difference over there is for the FDA to approve it here, it has to go through a certain time period to be able to use it. Optic nerve hypoplasia, the septic optic dysplasia, affecting both eyes.
Yeah,
Okay.
What
So
that is underdevelopment of the optic nerve.
got it. So she's blind,
Yes.
Yes.
and there's no light perception.
No.
Okay. Now, you were telling me how you first came to hear about the cane, so tell
Yes.
me again.
So our mobilization specialist had been to a conference that you had spoken at, and she had gotten some literature there, and we had been working with a stick cane from about 1 year old with Madison for, I think, a few months before Meg had told us about the belt cane, is what we call it.
Yeah.
And so when I got the literature, I called you, and from there we got a measuring kit for Madison, and we were able to get her measurements, and we sent the measurements off back to you, and then we got a belt cane in the mail, and so it's been a really fun way for her to choose between the stick cane and the belt cane, and so we have offered it up to her and so she, when we use it more out of the house than we do in the house, and when we go out, we'll just ask her which one she'd rather use, and she'll tell us which one she would rather use, and so I'd say it's kind of 50-50 on which she would rather use.
So she gets to choose, and it's 50-50, and then the outcome, is it the same when she's using the stick cane and the belt cane?
It is I would say it's two different uses. The stick cane is always with my assistance. I have to be walking with her with the stick cane, and whereas the belt cane, she can do self-exploration. So if we're going to a large area is usually when she'll want the belt cane, because she can walk by herself with the belt cane. If we're going to a narrow, where we're going to be walking through a narrow area, and she knows that she's going to want me with her the whole time, then she'll usually request the stick cane. But that would be the two differences. If we're going somewhere that she can walk around out in the open with it, then she can do it by herself. With the belt cane, she can actually walk and find things, whereas with the stick cane, I have to be holding it and guiding it for her. So it's almost just like holding hands, walking together.
Sure.
Using the stick cane.
Oh, that's interesting. And tell me a little bit about the process, because you've explained to me that anything new is a process.
Yes.
So was there a process that you used to get her to warm up to wearing the belt cane?
Let's see.
You let her explore it before ever put it on her. She got
Nice.
to feel all the stretchy.
Yes. Let's just lay down my love. I think
She was able to feel the elastic and feel the fiberglass and the little bearing wheels on the bottom. And so we started
what she loved initially? I'm trying to think back now. Initially, where it all began, she loved the Velcro. That
Yeah.
Velcro and the circle emblem.
Yeah.
She loved that circle emblem, and she would talk about the circle, and she would feel the Velcro, and she loved the noise of it. She thought it was really funny. That tickled her. So there were a lot of features about the belt that were different than the stick cane. The stick cane was very
Sure.
boring, but the belt cane had a lot of fun things to feel. And then the fact that she could kind of bounce with it. And what she really loved was when we would go to the mall and she would be able to pick that up and she would slam it down on the floor and hear the echoing acoustics of the cane. I think that was her first time enjoying it.
She liked it because she could spin around in circles.
Mhm.
She would hold on to it.
She would, that was, yeah, when she was first starting, and it's like, it takes me a little while to think about when we first started with it, but she would move it back and she would slide it across, and she was hearing the noise and then finding different textures. So if she was sliding it across the gravel, it would really glitch as she slid it across the gravel.
Yeah.
And when she slid it across the grass, it would, catch in a dip, or it would, it made a different noise. And then the concrete, but the mall was really fun because there was the tiled section of the mall, and so it would like tick, 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 tick as you walked across the mall floor with it. So I think that was where, her first couple things was that really slamming, and we would count the bangs, and we'd see how loud we could bang it, and we'd see how softly we could bang it. That was our getting her into it.
Yeah.
I think that was the beginning.
I love that. When did you get it? Was it February, I think? It was in the winter, right? It was definitely chilly. I remember the coats.
Yes, it was cold.
Was it last year?
It was last year. It wasn't this year. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a year.
It was maybe
a year and a
December
half or so.
or even November. I don't know. We've had it for a while.
We've had it for a while. Mhm.
Nice.
Yeah. So
And how often are you able to get it on to her? Every day or a couple times a week or?
almost every day.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'd say 5 days a week we use it. Yeah. So we go out probably twice a day, and we'll put it on at least once a day. In the last few months, we've been putting it on for hours a day. But before that, it was 5 days a week.
Yeah.
But now we've really ramped it up to where it's in the morning, we practice walking down the hall to the kitchen, and then we practice walking up the hill to the mailbox. Then we come inside and we have some downtime, and then we'll go somewhere and we'll practice walking with it to the pool, or through Walmart, or and then we come home, we have nap time, and then we do it again in the afternoon. So our day revolves around getting places that will be fun to walk with it.
Oh, neat.
If it's left in my truck and I'm heading out somewhere, I turn around and bring it back. We'll get out and about and say, "Do we have it with us?" And say,
Yeah, that happens sometimes, yeah. But, Sunday mornings, we've got a long hallway down to church, and so we'll put it on, and everyone will walk past, and they'll all say, "Oh, wow, cool," if they haven't seen it before, or, "Good job, Madison," cheer on as we're walking, and we'll listen to music and walk all the way to the back to the music.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Would it be a chance if she was in it, and could she just wear it while she's seated in the pew, or is it just every time you sit down it's coming off because she wants it
Yeah,
off?
we do take it off. She likes to, the chairs have holes in them, so she likes to face the chair,
Oh,
and
yeah.
stick her fingers all in it, and then she likes to climb up on the chair by herself, and
You can't do that with the cane on.
yeah,
That's
so,
right.
but she can walk by herself. She'll trail along the wall and feel the wall with her hand as she walks down, and I think that's
Would
true.
you say, when you say that, like she can walk herself, without it she can, but maybe it's different, or what's the noticeable difference with
If
without?
she is walking without it, she would be walking like this, sidestepping.
Yeah.
But with it, she will be walking in a forward motion, and she has her hand in the cane position. Like she's able to feel, whether or not she knows it quite yet, she's able to feel what's up ahead of her. So
Yeah.
it's transferring that information through a cane. But she's using it almost as a support right now as she walks, because she's young, she doesn't have the coordination yet. So
Yeah.
I feel like it's just the first stage of transferring information to her hand.
Yeah.
And then her other hand is able to explore. So she's not actually having to take a cane and be holding it in front of her, because if she had the stick cane, she would be walking like this, and the stick cane would be out behind her, as she's walking, because it's just another object, like a toy that she's dragging along behind, you know, with her. But the belt cane, it's most comfortable for her when it is in front of her, and she usually rests her hand on it as a stabilization, and then is able to feel with the other hand.
Yeah. And like I think you said, like she's getting the tactile feedback too, maybe. through
Yeah,
the
I think
cane.
it's subconscious. I don't think she realizes it quite yet. Sometimes she
Right.
does, you know, if the cane drops and she realizes that she's come to a step. I think that she's, you know, every day she's got to be getting a little closer to realizing that the cane is warning her of things up ahead.
Well, about the drop, do you think she stops when it drops off?
Yes.
Or? Oh, okay.
Yes, I do.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I think that she, when the cane drops away, she starts searching with her toes, looking for, you know, she'll kind of
Looking for the edge
Yeah,
or for the steps or.
you can see her kind of search with her feet back and forth, tapping, looking for where that edge is going to be. So
That's terrific.
yeah, it is.
And then the up the stairs is just not working, right? Or did you confine it? But tell me a little bit about the
Yeah,
difficulty.
the up the steps hasn't been working for us, maybe because we have, you know, the only area that it does work is at the library, where the steps are about 3 inches tall and they're about 3 feet wide, deep. So she can move that cane up, and then she can come to the step with her feet, step up, and her cane hasn't found another step yet.
Right.
That's the only area that it'll work, but our steps, you know, the only steps that we have are pretty shallow. So she would have to bring that cane up to a real vertical in order to go up them forward.
And she still needs her hands. For,
Right.
Yeah, so we don't quite have all that coordination down. So for right now, she just takes the cane off when she goes up the steps, and she'll use the handrail.
Yeah, I think that's safer at this point with the design. It's a little too awkward with a 2.5-year-old to try to do the whole
Yeah.
thing.
If like the side rails on it were telescoping, she'd pull it up to her waist.
Yeah.
She'd be right at the steps fine. Or if you had an interlock here, you could undo it, slide the whole bar back. I don't know. That might be too much for her.
I think so. But
Right. I mean, every time we start thinking of a way that the kid could do, it's like,
It's
oh
like,
wait,
wait,
they're
she's
2.5. Wait.
Just put this combination in.
1, 2, 3. That's it. Yeah. That's the attempt currently, is to see if 90% shorter and the wheels turn it a different way would allow her to wear it in a more cluttered setting, like in your home. Which, not that your home is cluttered, but
No, yeah.
you know what I mean. And or will it still be too far away, or still too much? And that's the big thing for when you know you have it. Just to, before we send you the new one, whatever that's going to be. I don't know. I'm excited about it, but
I think that the shorter cane inside is going to be really nice. I think that when she first put it on, the thing that would frustrate her is when she hit something, she would swing with her hands trying to feel, what is that I hit? And when she couldn't feel it out in front of her, she would, you know, get frustrated. But you know, it's just a matter of having to turn to the side and then find it. So she'd turn to the side.
but even the doorway, because I remember we spoke a while ago, and you're like, the doors are such a frustration. And then this morning, I got her on video, and it is an awkward way. Clearly, you have to turn a funny way,
Once
but
she
she
finds
like
the opening, she
stuck
can go
to
through
it.
it. The cane
Yes.
is-
Yeah, she can maneuver doorways quickly. And I wonder if 2.5 isn't just like the ball just starts rolling a little bit
Yeah.
better. So the progress, I feel like, is on the uptick. You know, maybe 6 months from now it'll just be a totally different story.
Right.
But right now I think it's just like we're pushing. We're gonna have to, you know, we have to keep going.
So the door, though, it was really a wonderful thing to see this morning, because I know that was such a, you know, and she.
It's true. They're big milestones. You know,
Yeah.
going through doorways, being able to navigate. It looks so wide to us, but for her, she is doing a lot of navigating with that cane, and she does. She's found the doorways and she's able to get through them, and it's really neat. Where from her bedroom, she has to come through the doorway and then turn to come down the hallway, and she's got it. She steps off that carpet and she's able to turn and come down the hallway, and there's other doors along the hallway. So snagging those doors with her cane, she's got it now. You know, she'll tee into a doorpost, and then she'll adjust and she'll come back out into the hallway and keep going, and you know, maybe she'll zigzag over to the other door and she'll move and come back to the hallway. So it is neat. And that cane is transferring information. You know, she hears that cane dragging on the hardwood of the hallway and the echoing of the walls. So
Yes.
I can't think. Nothing comes to mind where the cane was causing her any pain, other than running into things. You know, if she was moving quickly and she hit a doorway, it would, you know, it kind of it kind of hits you in the hips a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's it.
A lot of that came with frustration too, because she felt trapped.
So the feedback was like, oh no, yeah, like I've got this thing. Did she ever fall back because she ran so fast that she hit it and it kind of pushed her back? Or her balance has always been able to handle it?
Yeah, I think she's always had her torso moving, like tilted forward with the cane.
She's really good at finding her center of gravity and balance. Like,
Yeah, I don't think she's ever fallen back with a cane. I really don't think. The only thing that she's ever done is if we're walking in the yard and she steps into a pothole, she might kind of dip to the side and then tip over.
Yeah.
But it's a real slow motion tip over. It's not a big fall.
Yeah.
It's just a tip, and then we're needing to figure out how to get up with the cane, get her body forward, get her feet under her, and push up instead of trying to come from a back bend up.
Well, right, because this morning when I saw was the assistance is sort of expected by her, and so that's an area where she will never herself do it, but so I think if you gave her that little bit of forward rather than pull up and allow her to sit back and be pulled up, shape her into the position that might help her realize she can use that forward motion.
Yeah, so that'll be great. We'll start working on
Give
that.
that a try. And then the other thing is to really check to see, is the cane missing anything? Like, is she going to contact with her body with the shoulder, or is the cane wide enough, do you think? Is it not, like, is it the right width? Because I have been asking them to do like just a little wider, but they're like, well, it's like a balance, because if it's too wide, then it's really sort of in the way too. I don't know. So I'm just wondering if the shape, there's anything that, what would we look at? What would you fix? What would you change? Anything.
if you going out into town, we've met blind adults in our area.
Oh, neat.
And it's funny, we're at the fishing department at Dick's Sporting Goods, and Michelle, the man over there is blind. She said, no, he just has a fishing pole. When you see these adults walk, they move their cane side to side the width of their feet. And the way this belt cane is designed is the width of Madison's torso.
Yeah.
So watching adults walk with a stick, they're going side to side, just barely past their feet, at their feet.
Yeah.
As they're walking, and this is giving her feedback in her line of travel.
It's the stationary arc. That's what I call it.
Okay.
And the adults use what I call a syncopated arc. So syncopated meaning like music, it's in rhythm, it's in time with the step. And so what the problem is with a little one is barely holding it, and like you pointed out, off to the side, it's not actually giving the information about what's ahead of her. So the syncopated arc checks each step ahead of the step.
Interesting.
And that's what the arc is doing of the stationary arc. It's checking both. In fact, you have more information than the syncopated arc. That little tiny, whatever size tip on the bottom of that, that's all you're checking, really. And then if you sweep it, you get more. But still, research has shown that adults are getting like 70% warning. So with a perfect syncopated swiping So the cane is in and of itself not 100% safe because of the arc itself. So pushing the shape forward is 90 to 100% next step warning. And the only time it goes low is when it shifts off to the side, and naturally you're going to walk a few paces then that aren't checked. So the real advantage is that stationary arc doesn't have the cracks in it that like a sweep does. It like just whatever. They show a diagram. Sure, it makes sense to somebody. Anyway,
I understand.
They said even big things the cane can miss right if it's in the right spot, and you just swipe right past it.
Yeah.
The outcome that I teach at the lab at Hunter with my sighted students, and some have low vision who want to be teachers, so whatever. But the upshot is, the cane is pretty amazing. I mean, it really does function very well in most environments, and if you keep it going, that they walk past things all the time they didn't know was there, but it didn't affect their path of travel. So if it's like off here and you're sort of walking this way and veering, the fact that the cane didn't find it was no big deal.
So when your sighted students like blindfold themselves,
yeah,
that's way cool.
Yeah, it's on my Facebook for Hunter. We had a wonderful summer. We posted so many pictures. It's adorable.
Very cool.
Oh yeah, we go out to lunch with the blindfolds on and take the subway and the taxi. We should do Uber next summer. I don't know. But yeah, they go through their paces. They really feel what it's like to be disoriented. And, it's
probably
fun.
be a good exercise for us to do. Just around the house to blindfold ourselves and listen and feel and everything.
We'd wait all day for a taxi ride by.
Well, that would be out here, not as effective.
I think the cane has been really wonderful in that just transfer of information for Madison. To be able to have something that is strapped on, that stays on, that she doesn't have to mess with. But that she can be distracted and thinking about other things or listening to other things and not focus 100% on just walking. And it's nice to be able to, she goes outside and she's listening to the birds and she's feeling the wind and different things and not just thinking about her little feet stepping.
I thought it was such an interesting moment when I want to try to do, and this is like the first trip. It's like, oh, it'd be great if I videoed them doing it with and without, and the stair. And then when I asked you, well, let's go back down the driveway, and you're like, well, actually, we always use the cane. And sure enough,
I don't think that
and she wasn't up for it. And at the end, you guys went ahead and put the cane back on her so naturally. And then I always ask people, when do you wear it, when do you don't, and when is it better to be without it? And I wonder, obviously in the home, like in familiar areas, you'd say.
Yeah, in our house, when she's walking around, where she doesn't wear shoes, she's okay with not wearing a cane, and she will get around. She'll find her way around.
Yeah.
But whenever we go outside, we pretty much put the cane on. Unless we're going to be doing an activity like playing in a bucket of water or something like that. But other than that, or riding on the bicycle, take it off of that. But most everything else, she wears it to get to where we're going. And then when we get there, if it's the fence around the garden or the mailbox, she'll take it off and play with that item, and then we'll put it back on and go wherever else we're going. So.
And she's really just gotten it's sort of a normal process for her in many ways, right?
Yes. Yeah, it's a normal process for her. It's a slow process for anybody watching from the outside, though. I think would look and see and say, I know for her pop, Adam's dad, when he's with her, it's really hard for him to watch her go so slowly. Like he wants her to, I'll just carry her, or I think it's difficult for some people sometimes to let her have to walk.
Right.
It's difficult for me.
Yeah.
I'd rather just pick her up, carry her, get to the activity, and enjoy that.
But I like that you come up from behind and you give her a little help with the pace. I think that's a good thing. Like sometimes it's good to be Madison's pace, and sometimes it's good to be hurried along a little.
I think if she knew she could run with it, and it wouldn't be like the unevenness of the yard, she would eventually,
Yeah,
but I think right now she doesn't know the pace that she can go.
yeah.
You know, she'll take tiny little steps, like, and that's still learning the feedback from the cane. Like, okay, this is out ahead of me. I'm clear for 2 feet. You know?
Well, you've got some rough surfaces out here in the country,
It's true.
right?
It's true.
I don't know that with the current cane tips work great for running in the grass, right? So I mean that might be an area that we have to explore. Like, is there a base, a cane tip that would be better on really uneven surfaces, right?
It's nice that those 2 points though, because when she is in the grass, she can hold on, and when she rocks to one side, the cane will catch her. You know, that having that square
Okay.
kind of works like a walker. You
Yeah.
know, like a walker that a senior would use. Is it best for hands over her hands on the cane, or is it better for her to hold a hand and hold a cane and hold the cane with one hand?
I think if we set the pace, like if we just set the pace for the start of it, and she knows that for 5 days now I've been walking this speed. When you take your hand off the back,
Maybe
and you
she
say pick up the pace, Madison. She'll know all along she's been walking that fast.